Something up to you. I had this guy on yesterday. This guy who wrote this book, El Narco. His name is Joan Grillo, and he's an investigative journalist who lives in Mexico, and he studies the cartels.
They sell organs.
And but this is one of the things he was saying was that they get these people used to killing, and they were getting these kids and having these kids kill at a young age and dismember people, and they were doing it to get the fear out of their body. So this one guy who they had a nickname for him, Tyson. He was a cop, but he was also in charge of hiring these little kids and training these little kids to be assassins, and he would teach them how to dismember people. Mm-hmm. And he was going into it and all the things they did and all the beheadings that they did. And he was saying that they try to that in certain groups of people, when they have this organization, they try to get them used to horrific acts.
Well, it's called the cement of blood. And that's a Heinrich Himmler term, head of the SS, is that the SS, Hitler had about 7-8 years before he launched the war. So he got like 12-year-olds ready for war, and they would get them like having fun and swimming and working out and boxing. And then they would, like when they're like 15, give them a super hot hooker and then give them drugs. It's LSD didn't get discovered in Switzerland. Hitler was putting them all on it, DMT, everything. And they would then have these religious experiences and say, you're invincible, you're Superman. This has all been declassified, but it's in more esoteric writings. And so they would get them all wound up, and then to graduate as an SS officer, after you'd had a dog like 5 years, you had to strangle your German Shepherd.
Yeah, that was my friend Ari. His dad was in the Israeli Special Forces, or one branch. Would you remember what branch it was? One branch of the Israeli military, and they had to kill a kitten. They had to raise a kitten and
like, look, Jews are just like anybody else. There's good people, there's bad people. But yeah, Israel, because they got so screwed over by the Nazis, in a lot of sickening ways, just kind of copied a lot of it. And by the way, the Palestinians are trying to kill them and blow them up. My point is that the Nazis got evil down so much that, like, we brought 34,000 in to run NASA, to run the universities.
Operation Paperclip.
Everybody wanted Nazis. They were like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Because they were all robots and would do whatever they were told.
Well, Werner von Braun was absolutely, yeah.
Goddard Space Center. So, yeah.
And he was a Nazi.
So what would happen was, first they gave him sex, they gave him power, they would really pressure him, to go through things. And then they would basically, just condition them to do whatever they were told. And they called it the cement of blood, because then it's just like satanic cults say, kill your dog. I mean, I remember when I was growing up in Rockwell, Texas, I ran into like a satanic cult. I was like, God, this girl's a senior in high school. She's super hot. I'm in ninth grade, and like she's picking me up in her Mercedes, and I'm taking me some mansion. And the sex with her is incredible. And I'm walking out of the house, because I looked like I was about 16 when I was, 13. And the dad goes, "You like screwing my daughter?" "Yeah, I screw her too." Whoa. And just as soon as you join us, you love Lucifer, you get all the tail you want, boy, because we want you. But
what? Really?
Oh yeah. But yeah, man, I've had an incredible life. Look at all the stuff I do now. I mean, look at it. But the point is that, hell, you're in LA, you know about all this. But the point is
I don't know about all that.
The point is that then the Satanists, because I never really got into Satanism, and they said, well, what do you want? Because I don't want to be, they go, well, we want you to kill your dog.
Whoa.
And so the point is that now, all these years later, kill a loving thing that serves you, cares about you, is interface. Dogs are very psychic. They're psychic buffers. Dogs are able to interface with you. And they want you to take something that's ready to die for you, and they want you to kill that. That's like killing a child. A dog is very similar to a child. Yeah. Very spiritual, very holy, very good. A dog will take on its master's aura, and it can be evil, but Joe, I'm just totally spilling my guts here, because people need to know about all this, and this is what's going on, and this is what's happening. And so they want the cement of blood, is they get people in a group, and they get them to do horrible, evil things during peer pressure, and then they create this synthesis. And you have to know the darker elements of the criminal networks that are inside our government are actually running Mexico as a laboratory test. Because they know Native Americans are gung ho, and they're tough, and they're ready to fight. And I'm part Native American, only like 6% Comanche, and Texas, and just that little bit makes me wild. Yeah. And so they can get them because they're powerful, they're smart, they're neat, they're cool, but genetically they go into groupthink really, really fast. And so Native Americans you can mind control really fast.
Why is that?
Well, it's like Vietnam. I mean, the Bering Land Strait, and basically they test the genetics of Mesoamericans. It's basically Chinese, or Han, because there was always some whites and Vikings even 10,000 years ago going in the area. But like that nobody like in fights like in Korea fighting the Chinese. That's who we're really fighting there, or Vietnam. Do you think freaking? I mean, they're like they're conscious and real people, but when they get into a fight, they all sync up and are robots and have no fear. I mean, you're talking about psychotic killers you're fighting. And so Asians are about the most fearless killers there are.
Like the Mongols, like the history
any of them.
The
If you get, I mean, once Asians go to war, it's like they do not. In fact, they're not even crazed going wild in a battle. They're like robots coming to kill you. And so,
what do you think that's from? Do you think that's from their heritage of war, that they have a long, like if you think about Japan has a long history of being a noble warrior culture with the samurais and all the martial arts. But you say,
is it from the nobility? It's the genetics,
right? But
the genetics is what creates the. It's like 500 of you loading planes to go kill yourselves.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I agree with you. What I'm saying is, think about a place like Japan where so much martial arts came from, kendo, sword fighting. Karate, a bunch of different branches of karate, judo, jiu-jitsu. Japan. All that stuff came from Japan. I mean, that is a group of people that were obsessed with combat. I mean, they figured out
the
combat.
ruling class was.
Well, not just that, the soldiers and even the civilians.
No, I agree. But the ruling class was the samurai, the shoguns.
The ruling class was the shoguns, right? And when you think about what a small place Japan is, and how stunning it is that so much innovation, especially in terms of like my line of work, martial arts.
I don't get into bell curves because you've got black people that are as smart as any white person, and then you've got black people that are way better at sports or whatever. I mean, there are genetic differences. We're not, and then you've got the head of your former, Cold Springs Harbor, Watson, comes out and says blacks aren't human, all that BS. That's just the racist crap that's in the government. But it's true that some groups of Northern Europeans, and then the Japanese, on average, per capita, have the highest IQ. And so they're Japanese, and then there are some Northern Europeans that have the highest IQs. But then you can get into, like, say, Jews have very high IQs on average.
European Jews have an extraordinary high number
also have
of
a social
Nobel Prize
skill.
Winners. And,
it's a bunch of – so there's not just one type of intelligence.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. Well, there's tests that you can run in terms of mathematics, but there's no real tests you can run in terms of social intelligence.
Real test is psychic connectivity, and they've proven the DNA is a transceiver. And so my skill is, that's why I'm usually kind of like almost autistic, is I'm just being constantly, like everything's going on. But then if I actually focus in, I can like figure out the exact enemy operation. That's why they're really pissed.